Dating today is a minefield, and some people out there aren't just bad dates, they're downright dangerous. In this video, we're diving deep into the 10 red flags that scream psychopath alert on a first date and could prevent you from walking into a seriously dangerous situation, with the last 2 being critically important. Feel free to let us know if you've ever been on a date with a psychopath, and if they've done something that's not included on this list. So, let's break down the 10 most common warning signs that you might be sitting across, talking to, and maybe even being seduced by a psychopath. Number 1. Too good to be true. Psychopaths are like human chameleons, they're masters of first impressions. We're talking next-level charm that feels almost too good to be true. They'll walk into a date with the precision of a Hollywood actor, delivering exactly what they think you want to hear, with zero genuine emotion behind it. What makes this charm different from normal dating excitement is its almost mechanical perfection. They'll have a story and the perfect response for everything. Your job. Fascinating. Your hobbies. Incredibly interesting. Your entire life story. They're hanging on every word, but something feels off. Pay attention to how their charm feels. It's like watching an incredibly skilled performer who's memorized every line but doesn't quite understand the script's emotional nuance. They'll mirror your interests with scary accuracy, but there's no real depth. It's all surface-level performance. The scary part? They've likely spent years perfecting this routine. Each conversation is a carefully crafted script designed to make you feel special, to lower your defenses. They're not connecting. They're calculating. Number 2. Zero genuine empathy. Here's a terrifying truth. Psychopaths don't actually feel emotions the way normal people do. They observe them. They can mimic them with scary accuracy, but there's nothing genuine underneath. Watch for those moments when a normal person would show genuine emotional response. Someone shares a tragic story. How do they react? A psychopath might nail the perfect sympathetic facial expression, but it'll feel like watching a low-budget movie scene. The eyes won't match the expression. The emotional depth just isn't there. It's like watching an AI try to understand human emotions. They know the right words, the right gestures, but something fundamental is missing. They might say all the right things, but there's a coldness, a distance that feels unsettling. Pay attention to how they talk about other people's emotions. Do they seem genuinely interested, or does it feel like they're analyzing a complex math problem? Psychopaths view emotions like a scientist studies bacteria, with detached, clinical interest. Number 3. Subtle manipulation tactics and games. Psychopaths are chess masters of human interaction. Their manipulation isn't loud or aggressive, it's surgical, precise, and incredibly subtle. They're not just trying to control the conversation, they're trying to control your entire perception of reality. Watch for those tiny moments of psychological manipulation. They might neg you, give a backhanded compliment that simultaneously boosts your ego and undermines your confidence. For example, they might say something like, "You're pretty smart for someone who looks like they don't read much." It's a calculated move designed to keep you off balance. They'll test your boundaries in the most subtle ways. A slightly inappropriate joke here, an invasive question there. They're not just making conversation, they're mapping out your psychological landscape, finding exactly where you're vulnerable. The goal is to keep you constantly second-guessing yourself. Am I overreacting? Did they really mean that the way I think they did? It's psychological warfare so subtle that you might not even realize it's happening. Number 4. Moving way too fast. Psychopaths are masters of emotional acceleration. They don't just want to date you, they want to own you, and they'll move at a breathtaking speed. We're talking intense love bombing from moment 1. Sudden declarations of how you're perfect and exactly what they've been looking for. Talks of future plans on the first date. They'll make you feel like you're in a romantic movie, but it's all just a carefully constructed trap. The speed is deliberate. They're not building a relationship, they're creating a psychological dependency. By overwhelming you with attention and future promises, they're short-circuiting your natural caution mechanisms. Take note of how uncomfortable the speed feels. A normal connection builds gradually. This feels like being strapped to an emotional roller coaster with no control over the destination. Number 5. It's never their fault. In the world of a psychopath, they are never, and I mean never, responsible for anything negative that happens. Every single problem is someone else's fault. Every conflict is a result of someone else's actions. Listen carefully to how they describe past relationships, work conflicts, family drama. There's a chilling consistency. They're always the one being wronged, always the misunderstood one. Their narrative is so perfectly constructed that it almost sounds believable. Almost. But here's the tell: there's zero self-reflection. No moment of maybe I could have handled that differently. It's always a complete externalization of blame. Lost a job. The boss was an idiot. Relationship failed. The ex was crazy. Traffic was bad. Everyone else is a terrible driver. It's like listening to a professional victim who's also a master storyteller. The narratives are so smooth, so perfectly constructed that you almost don't notice the fundamental lie at their core. Number 6. The predatory eye contact. There's a difference between confident eye contact and a psychopathic stare that feels like you're being hunted. Psychopaths don't just look at you, they look through you, like you're a complex problem to be solved rather than a human being. It's an intensity that goes beyond normal human connection. Their eyes don't show warmth or genuine interest. Instead, they're calculating, assessing, almost clinical in their observation. It's like being examined under a microscope by someone who sees you as a specimen, not a person. Normal people blink, look away, show natural human variability in eye contact. A psychopath's gaze is unnervingly steady, unnaturally intense. They're not connecting, they're analyzing every micro-expression, every tiny reaction. Always remember to monitor how uncomfortable their gaze makes you feel. If it feels more like a predator assessing prey than a potential romantic connection, trust that instinct. Number 7. Trust your gut. Your body knows something is wrong long before your brain catches up. That weird feeling in your stomach? The slight tension in your shoulders? The way your hands feel slightly clammy? Those are your survival instincts screaming. Psychopaths are experts at psychological manipulation, but they can't fool your primitive survival mechanisms. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't rationalize those feelings away. Don't try to be polite or give someone the benefit of the doubt. Your safety is more important than being nice. Your instincts are a sophisticated threat detection system that has kept humans alive for thousands of years. Trust them. Dating shouldn't feel like a psychological warfare game. These red flags aren't about paranoia, they're about self-preservation. Stay aware, stay smart, and most importantly, stay safe. Drop a comment. Have you ever encountered a potential psychopath on a date? Don't forget to share this video with someone who's still in the dating scene. You will do them a big favor. Subscribe if you haven't, and check out our video on the best ways to recognize narcissists next.